Hello, everyone. Welcome to our reading today. We are using Angels and Aura. This is a Radley Valentine and Dougal Fraser Oracle deck. This is the card guidance book. It doesn't have the pictures of the cards, but it does have the numbers and it has a very nice description for each card. And just for those that may not have seen the deck, this is what it looks like. Just to do a quick, I like to do a quick show of the deck um, just to kind of give people an idea in case you haven't seen this deck and it's a new deck to you. Okay, so this is a great deck to use. Very easy, very understandable. It is a Hay House deck, um, but you can probably purchase it on Amazon, I would imagine, or eBay. I got mine through Hay House. So we are just doing a daily guidance. Let me know in the comments how you are doing. Thank you so much for being here. All of my readings are always free. I don't charge. If you follow me on Facebook, uh, I do live readings on there. I've reached enough people to where I can start doing lives now, and I haven't. And I do. Um, I do pull cards for free on the lives. So I do your readings on the lives. I haven't really put up a schedule yet because I just reached 100 people and I just started to um, set up things to be able to do the lives. So I haven't done any lives yet as like I did one, but I haven't like done like a scheduled live event. So I'm still working on the best days, best schedule, best times. But everything's kind of changing right now because of spring and all that kind of stuff. So I do pop on every so often, and I'm hoping to be able to do more of the lives. So if you are seeing this on YouTube, know that if you follow me on Facebook, I do the lives on Facebook. I did do a couple lives on YouTube, and sometimes like there was just nobody that showed up. So uh, it seems to have more of a positive impact on Facebook. Okay, so looking at our reading today, you are looking at showers of prosperity, wealth, opportunity, success, and manifestation. Okay, so this is a time where things are financially moving forward for you. So the universe, spirit might be opening up doors to really help you get to where you want to go quickly, right? So maybe something happens and you're not sure how you're going to do it, and then the answer appears. Maybe somebody offers you certain things. It doesn't always have to come in um, money. Sometimes prosperity can come in people offering to do things for you or people giving you things, right? So say like your car breaks down and you don't have the money to fix it and you're going to have a new motor and there's like no way that you have this money, and then somebody comes in and they're like, "Hey, I have this car that I'm not using. Do you know anybody who would be interested in purchasing it?" Or or somebody comes in and they tell you that they have this job that's is opening up soon, and they're looking for someone that can fill this position, and it's exactly what you have been wanting to do, right? So like sometimes the shower of prosperity isn't always like physical cash. Like it seems like a lot of people right now are really really focused on manifesting the flow of wealth in their life and the flow of money and making cash. But we need to remember too that if you are not within you, if you are not truly grounded and you do not have your heart and mind completely aligned with itself, uh, when you do get like a large sum of money, often you will spend it, or or it'll go in this, that, or whatever. Just because something comes in doesn't mean it's grounded and it's there to stay. So that's the thing. Like the shower of prosperity is also about opportunities opening up for you that help you to reach those financial goals that you're that you're going for. So it's not always about getting and receiving money. It's not about running out. This card isn't about going out and trying to play the lottery or going gambling. Like it's not about that. Now, for some people, um, they may say, "Oh, well, I did this and I got this," and that does happen for some people. But for the majority of all of us, this message is more of the universe is going to provide for you. The universe is going to give you opportunities for you to be able to provide for yourself by XYZ. Okay. So like say for instance, you really want to go on vacation, but there's no way that you have the money to go, but then somebody calls you and says, "Hey, I am, right next to the beach. I'd love for you to come with us. Um, we have two extra people or three extra people that were supposed to come and they canceled. Would you guys like to come? The only thing you have to pay for is gas and maybe some food." Um, and there you go. Like there's your opportunity, right? So like be open to receive the universe's opportunities in a different manner than what this card may instantly appeal to you as, right? Financially, maybe you have a loan or something and you're given loan forgiveness. Right. So instead of getting the money to pay off the loan, maybe you are offered loan forgiveness on the loan, and so you no longer have to worry about that debt. Right. So just be aware that this can be done in many different ways. Right? Often we want to see things as money, 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 and that's not always the case. The universe will often provide for us in that way, yes, but in other ways that meet that expectation and that need. And the universe usually always does it through other people so that it's more than just you being blessed in the process, right? It's other people offering you something. So in return, they are fulfilling an answered prayer. So they're being blessed as they're blessing you for doing something as well. So a lot of times you will see it play out in that manner. And then you have Michael Blue, wise, honest, trustworthy, and observant. Okay, so this card is all about taking time to learn, understand, and perceive different aspects of life itself. Okay, so a wise person is someone who is not going to comment without knowledge, right, or experience. And an honest person is someone who is willing to admit when they make a mistake, willing to admit when they know something, willing to tell their heart truth even if it hurts to hear it. Like that's an honest person. Trustworthy is also in yourself. You want to be honest with yourself and you want to be trustworthy of yourself. You want to feel like you can depend on yourself. Or you want to feel like if everybody fails you, you still got you. Okay? So this card is all about taking the time. If you look at these on the sides, there's like different headings here. See those different headings? So like not all of those different headings are going to um appeal to you, but a lot of these connect, they all connect with each other, right? A lot of times when you go down one path, that path connects to another path, connects to another path, and so you can have many different things connected to each other, right? Through different knowledge. So this is basically saying don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to trust your own knowledge that you are receiving from the divine, from spirit. Don't be afraid to dig deeper into the topic for your own benefit. Sometimes we don't have to learn things so that we can go tell others. Sometimes it's just learning for our own understanding, learning so that we have the knowledge within us to know the right path to take when others may be taking their own choices, right? So instead of following others blindly, we have enough knowledge within us so that we make the wise decisions ourselves to not do certain things. Right? So that's what this is saying, okay? This is saying seek out knowledge. Ask the universe, okay? Ask your angels, your spirit team, your divine self, ask to receive wisdom so that you can walk your path with trust, inner trust, and with like your own. I don't want to say like you don't need other people. I don't want to say that, but it's like your own knowing. So you have confidence in your decisions, confidence in your next move. A lot of times we don't make decisions because we don't have the confidence. We lack the confidence. And that confidence can simply be found by going within us and asking ourselves what is lacking, what's lacking within me that's causing me not to have the confidence in this situation, right? So be very observant of yourself in this situation as well, like whatever it is that this involves with the knowledge, with the wisdom, with what you're seeking, whatever this involves, be observant with yourself. How deeply are you pulled into this situation? Because you might be pulled into this situation much deeper than somebody else is pulled into the situation. So you might have somebody who's saying, "Oh, you need to just let that go. Why do you even care to even worry? I wouldn't worry about that. I wouldn't let that worry you." But in your heart, you're being pulled, right? You want to make sure you're following your heart. You want to make sure that you are going down the path that your heart is really pulling you on because there's a purpose for it. And so observe your own emotions. Don't always make the decisions with your path based off of other people's reactions, right? So I've experienced this myself. Like I've had people tell me, you need to let this go, you need to let that go, you need to quit, you need to, that's easy for them to say because it's not their calling, it's not their path. It doesn't weigh heavy on their heart, and it's not something that spirit is calling them to do, right? But I personally experienced it, and so I felt the pull. I felt when I tried to ignore it, it would just pop up randomly on my computer and search, in pictures or whatever, search engines or whatever, or I would have a dream about it. So whatever it is that you're being called to do, take faith within you that there's a purpose there. So even if you don't want to read the book, skim through it. Even if you're not sure what you're looking for, just dive into it. You might be surprised how things start to unfold for you. And then we have renewed connections, reunion, reconciliation, intimacy, and forgiveness. Okay, so this is all about many different things going on at the same time. So you can see in this picture that there's many different things going on, right? So whatever has been going on within you, within others, within your life, within your path, these things are all connected in some way with each other, right? So as you keep progressing forward, you're going to unlock anything that needs to be healed, anything that needs to be forgiven, anything that is wanting to come back into your life that has done the work so that they can actually be in your life at this time, right? So for some of you, people may have fallen out of your life for 2, 3, 4 years. I don't know, maybe longer than that, and you are seeing these people again because there's unresolved energy, or there's something that you need to release, or maybe they've done the work on their side and they've changed their ways, and the universe is realigning you now because your energies are realigning with each other to come back into each other's life so that you can synchronize your energies together again, right? So sometimes people, you just have to let people go because they have their own path, their own journey, their own discoveries, and their own ways of seeing things, doing things. And and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with that person either. It just means that maybe it doesn't align with you, and the universe knows that it would cause a lot of conflict. So sometimes two people are separated so that they can both heal what they need to heal, so that that conflict that's between them doesn't destroy them. And in return, the universe will bring them back together again so that um, they can pick up where the situation had left off, but with a better note, with a better understanding of things, right? So that's what this is saying. Like, renewed connections can also be connections within yourself, things that you've lost. I know for some people, they say that, oh, my children are grown and they're off to college and the house is empty and there's no noise and I don't know what to do with myself and I have so much time, and that, I'm not going to have any grandkids for many, many years because my kids are just very young and they're just now going out on their own. And so, like, you had this, like, I don't know who I am kind of identity crisis, right? You might have been the father or the mother or the mom, the dad, and husband and wife energy, brother sister energy, and when the family dynamics change, you you change as well. So a lot of times you spend your life being the role of the father or the mother or the sister or some family member, and then whenever that connection changes, it's almost like you have to take time to just to learn yourself again, right? I know someone who took care of a grandparent, and the grandparent passed away, and the grandchild, um, it was their everyday job. It was what they did every single day. They were their grandparents' guardian, and so they took care of their grandparent for like 12 years. And when the person finally died, it was like, who am I? I don't know what to do with this time that I have. I spent every day, all day, with my grandparent. Like, how do I, find something else to do? How do I find out what I like or what? Because everything was revolved around that person versus who they were. So sometimes that's an issue with this card, is like learning to love yourself more. And intimacy can be in a relationship, but intimacy can also be knowing and understanding who you are, knowing and understanding your path, knowing your heart space and what makes you happy, what makes you feel good about yourself. If somebody says, what are your best qualities? What are your red lights? What are your green lights? You know, can you answer those questions? What do you love most about who you are? What's the best memory that you can think of? Like, those are important questions to be able to answer for yourself, because that tells you how much time you spend with your own true emotions and your own true self. How you sometimes people are very big at giving. They're just givers, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you forget to give back to yourself. You forget to acknowledge that you are a person and that you need love and that you need to know you. You need to spend some time with you, and you need to know what makes you happy, and you need to know what makes you sad, and you need to know how you feel about certain things, because that's your identity, that's who you are. And you are a person living inside of your body, and you're not just someone who gets up and just serves others and goes through the day, but you are a individual. You're an individual, and it's very important for you to connect to yourself. So renewed connections can also be inner connections, right? It can be um, connecting with people from a distance, connecting through things that each of you like. For some of you, you might connect through music with your, family, relatives. You might get together and have parties or things like that, or you might sing together. For others, you might be distance away, so the only communication that you have right now is like texting with each other, right? But finding something that brings you together is what helps with the renewing connection energy. Okay, that's where um, the coming back to the connection is brought into play there. So if, for example, you have a child that's left the house, and they're going to college or they're traveling or something, make sure you keep that connection, going. Make sure you're sending messages and things like that and keeping that connection going, because that's what strengthens the distance between the physical distance between whoever the person is and you, right? But again, interconnection very important as well. So because who if you know who you are, then you know who you are to others, and you're not just showing up being whatever somebody wants you to be, but you're able to be your true authentic self because you know yourself. And then communication, accuracy, expression, intimacy, and honesty, right? So in this card we have, like, it seems like they're whispering to each other. I feel like they're playing that game where you tell somebody something and then, like, by the time it gets to the fifth person, it doesn't sound anything like it was supposed to. I don't know. I forget the name. I don't know what that's called, but it's a funny game to play. But you tell one sentence, and then by the time it goes through all the people, you see who change, like how it changed based off of each person's perceptive and understanding of things, right? And this is also about acceptance as well, right? This card is showing that there is an inner fire. See how the fire is in the middle of the picture? There's an inner fire within all of us of wanting to be loved, accepted, and included, right? So communication is a very important part of that. And it comes right after your renewed connections, right? So if you're renewing connections that have been distant or severed, or if you're renewing connection within yourself, make sure you're maintaining that. This card has a lot to do with maintaining that connection. Make sure you're not judging yourself. Make sure you're not judging others so that that connection stays healthy. Make sure you're aware of the problems in the connection, right? So, like with this situation, maybe by the time it gets to this person and this person tells this person, it's a completely different, right? So you got to be aware of where did the problems begin? Where did they take place, right? Open, honest connections are very important. When a person is misunderstanding a situation because they're basing it off of their emotions instead of off the truth, that can cause a lot of problems with connections. So make sure you're paying attention to your emotions and how you're connecting, and make sure that you are dealing with your emotions first so that you can connect with an open heart and with a balanced understanding of things. And you want to make sure that you are listening. You're not listening to speak, but you're listening to understand. That's important as well. That's why we say it says accuracy. You want to make sure that you are listening to understand what the person is saying versus just listening to speak. Okay. And again, you have that intimacy. Intimacy is there's many different levels of intimacy. And yes, you can have the love communication there, but if you don't have the deep ability to communicate with others, then you it's there's a barrier, right? So intimacy, being able to have an intimate relationship with someone, and that is different than being able to have an intimate relationship with someone as well as being able to communicate clearly and intimately with that person. If that person understands your heart, if that person understands what you're saying, if that person understands your emotions, then that's a deep intimacy communication. If the person doesn't understand what you're saying, if you feel like you're talking to the wall, then that's a problem, because that is a part of intimacy, is being able to have good communication without yelling, arguing, fighting, or just feeling like you're not understood, right? Sometimes you don't have to argue and fight. It's just simply feeling like you're not understood. That alone can cause a deep connection problem, which is an intimate problem within you because you feel like there's something broken in the relationship. And then our closing card is evolution. So empowerment, transformations, protected, and preparedness. Right? So you are really doing a lot of work within you. This green energy is like the heart space energy. Okay, so you are really showing up. You're not expecting other people to do work either. So you're owning your energy. You're not saying, well, I'll do this if you do this, or if you would just do this, then this would happen. You're coming back to yourself and you're saying, I'm in control of myself. I can do this, this, and this. I can empower myself by doing this, this, and this. So you're communicating clearly, right? You're taking the steps that you need to do to move in the areas that you need to move in, to open up your heart, to heal, to communicate better, to be a better person yourself. And that's what the empowerment and the transformation comes in. Right? And you're protected by the universe, by your spirit team, because you are doing the work that many before you may not have even attempted to do. Right? So, and you are doing the work that would have been so much easier to just walk away. It's very easy to point fingers at people. It's very easy to blame people for our situations or our feelings or our emotions. And if you are willing to stop and say, no, I'm going to heal from this situation. I'm going to better this situation. My life is going to be better. I'm calling back my power. I'm not going to say I'm the wounded warrior kind of thing, but instead I'm going to pick myself up from this situation. I'm going to rebuild my life, take on a new path. Anything that you're positively reinforcing yourself to do is an evolution, and it is protected by the universe, because if you look at your bloodline, there may be people before you that didn't handle the situation the way that you did, right? They may have not been able to because they didn't have that emotional stability within them. They didn't have the forgiveness within them, right? So you are you are working on things that are helping you as an individual change who you choose to be from outside circumstances and situations. And again, if you look at each picture, there are many outside circumstances, right? With this one here, there's so many different things that took place that's in these books that were from history and from experiences and things like that, not personal, but passed down or in history, right? So those are outside experiences. These are outside experiences, right? These are different situations that are coming in and connecting with the communication. These are other people involved in the communication and the mistranslations of communication, right? So there's a lot of outside forces going on here. But the main thing is in this card, you're coming into yourself. You're grounding and you're coming into yourself and you're saying, how can I use everything that's going on in my life to heal, to improve, to transform this energy and to be happy, to be healthy, to be, you know, a person that doesn't walk around angry and upset and frustrated and hateful and just all these emotions that just really pull you down, right? That's what this is. Anytime we are evolving, we are looking at who we were, looking at what we no longer want to to deal with on a daily basis, and then looking at how we can move forward from that, how we can let it go and transition from it, right? And sometimes people get stuck in that awareness stage. They know what's wrong, they know what they don't want, but they don't know how to take the next step to release that. And and you are on that path. You are taking the steps. You are doing the work, and you are evolving in those ways because you're doing the inner work. You're not brushing anything under a rug. You're meeting it when it comes to you. You're sitting with your emotions. You're allowing them. And I always tell people it's not your emotions that's the problem. It's how you process them. Do you bottle them back up and hide them? Do you scream, holler, throw things, break things? Do you drink? Do you do something that you regret later? Like that's the thing that you want to work through. Because a lot of times when we look at people's situations and we ask, to ourselves, how could somebody do something like that? Or how can somebody do this or that? A lot of times we've realized, we find out that there's a deeper layer, there's a deeper situation, okay? There's a deeper purpose. So that's what you are doing here, which is something to continue doing and something to be proud of for yourself, because even if you're doing it, and for some of you, you might be doing it in quiet. You might be doing it in silence, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to tell the world that you're healing, right? People will just see it. They'll see it in your personality. They'll see it in the way you carry yourself. They'll feel it. They'll feel it in your energy when you come around. They'll feel it. They'll feel the shift. They'll feel the change, right? Sometimes it's better not to tell people what you're doing because not everybody wants to see you do something that they themselves can't do or don't want to do or are afraid to do or are not in the right situation within them to do, right? So a lot of times people see you doing all these things that they can only imagine, and therefore they will discourage you or they'll point out your flaws. Maybe you've done a lot of work on healing, but you have a couple areas that you're still working on, and they'll point those out to you, like, and they'll make you feel like everything you've done so far is nothing because you still have this or this, right? Those are the people that are not willing to do the work themselves, so they want to pull you back down to where they are, because if they see you elevate, then there's no excuse why they can't. And that's what they don't want to see. So sometimes we mirror people. Sometimes we give people uh, uh, back what they are not ready to perceive themselves. And it's nothing wrong with either side of that. They're just not ready yet. But sometimes when a person's not ready, they have a tendency of trying to sabotage things versus supporting, right? And it's not that they mean to, it's just sometimes it's just what they do. And so sometimes you have to be aware of it. Sometimes you have to speak up. Don't be afraid to be like, oh yeah, I am working on that. I've accomplished a lot so far, but yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, I am still working on that, but I'm making progress. Right? Don't be afraid to answer them in a positive manner on that too, because you want them to see that you're well aware of what you're still working on and that they can't use any of your flaws against you. But I'm just saying that sometimes it's better to do this in silence and not tell anybody, because um, not everybody is not everybody is your cheer people, right? So just be aware. I don't know who you have in your circles, but just be well aware that for some of you, you may need to really watch who you share your evolution with, because jealousy is out there. People do get jealous and people do show that jealousy. So I hope this has helped you. Thank you so much for stopping in, and I will see you hopefully in the next reading. Have a great evening, great day. Bye.